Hello travelers, Boardman21 here, and today got an endgame build guide for you with the new Druid Werebear. Now a lot of people have been complaining that there's not a good way to get any damage out of it or that it doesn't feel as powerful, but on the first day we've already got something put together that's working extremely well. Now this is going to be a low life Werebear. We did play it only using 𝐒𝐭𝐦𝐬𝐬 because we didn't have the boots, but the boots we got on our first try. They're a 50% drop rate, they're easy to get. And between having 𝐒𝐭𝐦𝐬𝐬 and the boots together, and with the storm crows buffing you, even in level 100 content, which is what you're watching right now, this is just the basic empowered content, you still do great damage and you have really good survivability because there's a lot of damage reduction inside of the passive trees, especially with the Berserker for low life that gives you 100% more melee damage and you take 25% less overall damage. Now we're using this with unlimited rage. You can run out against single target. Swipe does generate some, but swipe is not our main damage source. Mostly you rampage around, going super fast. We'll explain how we have extra move speed for that and how we got it. And the second thing is you use Maul, and Maul is using the Fury Leap tree, and you're guaranteed to crit with it whenever you are below half health, which is all the time because we're playing low life. Then we have a whole bunch of more damage modifiers everywhere, both inside of the Werebear skill tree, because in our passives we have low life, and then also the Fury Leap tree, which can do hundreds of percent more damage against high health, and it has critical strike multiplier, so you hit really hard with it every 3 seconds when you can use it. And then when it has its downtime, you can either just keep moving, you feel pretty quick with this build, or you can swipe away and regenerate a little bit of rage that way. Now we keep our rage mostly full because every time that we get a kill or we hit a rare or boss, we gain back 10 rage. And when you use Maul every 3 seconds and you get 10 trash mob kills, you get 100 rage back, which keeps your rage really full. But let's go ahead and get into the skills and exactly how this build works and what makes it function quite well in the end game so far. I also, as a side note, we are not completely done with the build. We've only played it for 1 day. We definitely want to build into some crit chance for swipe and build swipe into doing some damage really well when we have the downtime in between the 3-second smalls. But let's get into the skills. Alright, for skills we're using Werebear Form, Summon Storm Crows, Summon Wolf, Ice Thorns, and Fury Leap. Later we'll probably be switching out Ice Thorns for Swipe so that we can make Swipe do more damage, but that's not until we switch out weapons and build other stuff. We'll get into that in another build video once we have it set up. For now, for Werebear Form, we have this set up so that it will use our Leap tree with Maul, and then from there it's just getting more damage and figuring out the rage. So we have 5 points in Rip and Tear, which gives Maul and Rampage 75% more damage, 2 points in Territorial for more area with Maul and Rage, 2 points in Pummel and Bash so that Maul and Rage will do more melee damage. So Maul does more melee damage to stunned enemies, and you will gain Rage when Maul hits stunned enemies. So if you do some stun with Warcry, you can get rage that way, which really helps as well. Then we have 2 points in Fury of the Maul, which gives it cooldown recovery speed, so you can do it a little quicker. I think it takes it from like 3.3 seconds down to 3 exactly. 5 points in Invigoration, it lets you gain health, but it also lets you get that rage gain on kill or hit. So when you are just rampaging around and then you use Maul and you have a bunch of trash mobs, you do huge hits. Even in level 100 content, trash mobs are going to die in a single hit, which means when you use Maul, it's going to give you a bunch of rage back. You get 5 kills, you're going to get 50 rage back. If you hit 2 rares, you're going to get 20 rage back. And that's how you keep your rage full. You can also swipe, and swipe will give you some rage on hit thanks to some passives, but for the most part, Invigoration is the main way that we're getting rage back, and it works really well. The only time you really fall out of form is against single target bosses that take a really long time to kill. The good thing is when you fall out of transformation now, it's only a 6-second cooldown, and then you're right back into it with full rage again. Then we got 3 points in Bloodthirst. The bleed chance we don't really care about. It's the 1 point in Skull Crusher so that the Fury Leap treat now applies to Maul, and this allows you to really stack some really good damage and increase the area of it quite dramatically. For Summon Storm Crows, we have this set up to buff us. They're going to give us a little flat melee lightning damage, but all we really care about is the fact that with good berries, they're going to be giving us a ton of wards. So we've got 1 point in Avis, 3 points in Aspect of the Crow, 1 point in Wisdom of the Storm, 5 points in Ornithology, so that we get intelligence per crow. We do have 3 crows, which is going to give us 30 flat intelligence, which is enough word retention to make word feel even a little bit better. 1 point in Navigator, 1 point in Good Berries, 1 point in Wings of Restoration, so that the Storm Crows can now heal us. 4 points in Silverberry, so that they'll actually give us 300 ward every time they heal us. Now, the crows will come and heal you once every 10 seconds if you're under half life. And because we are always under half life, that means that we're going to be getting 300 ward from every crow every 10 seconds. And then with 3 points in Forager, with 120% cooldown, that takes it down to about 4 seconds, which means each crow every 4 seconds will heal us for 75 life and 300 ward. Now, we don't really care about the health so much, but the ward from 3 crows every 4 seconds means you're getting 900 ward every 4 seconds just thrown on top of you, on top of what you're already generating from 𝐭𝐦𝐬𝐬 and Last Steps of the Living. So it's pretty nice. It's a good buff to kind of keep you a little bit more alive in the harder content. And even in empowered content, we weren't having any trouble, even though we haven't stacked a whole lot of life yet. And then for Summon Wolf, we're only using this for one thing, and that is the 1 point in Pack Hunters. This gives you a +1 maximum companion limit. We're not actually summoning the wolves. We don't care about the wolves. We don't care about anything other than the tree. Just get to the Pack Hunters to get that +1 maximum companion, and this will allow you to go from 2 Storm Crows to having 3 Storm Crows. Then for Ice Thorns, we have this set up so that when we get hit, it'll proc the Thorn Shield, and that's really all it's for. Eventually, we'll be switching this over to Swipe so we can do better damage with Swipe. You can do Swipe now if you want, but we don't have 100% crit. We don't really build into crit at all, just because we didn't need it, because we have a guaranteed crit with the Fury Leap tree because we're under half health. But once we switch our weapons around and once we switch into using Swipe so we can get more DPS in the downtime of the cooldown of Maul, we will be changing the Swipe. But for now, it's just when we get hit, it procs. So we got 3 points in Dagger Thorns, 2 points in Bramble Armor, and 4 points in Spell Thorns. So every time that we get hit, there's a 40% chance to cast it. 1 point in Animal Affiliate, 1 point in Thorn Barrier, 1 point in Bulb Shield, 5 points in Bark Shield, and 3 points in Eternal Protection. So when it does proc, we get some extra flat armor, just a little bit of a nice defensive buffer. And then for Fury Leap, we got 20 points here with 3 points in Panther Strike. This gives it cooldown recovery, which will also speed up your Maul. Then we got 5 points in Ambush Predator, so that we have 175% more damage against full health enemies. So that first hit you going with Maul is going to hit super, super hard, and it's going to basically kill magic enemies and even trash mobs. All those are going to die in one hit in empowered content. Some rare enemies will. Rare bosses that have lots of life will probably take 3 or 4 hits, and then bosses will take you a while to work down, especially once they're under 75% health or 65% health, and they're no longer getting that 175% extra damage against them. We got 4 points in Crater for a huge area, which makes it really nice that you can round mobs up and just take out the whole screen. 3 points in Savage Impact, 4 points in Brutal Impact for the critical strike multiplier, and 1 point in Unshackled for that 100% chance to crit when you're below half health, which does work. We tried the 1 point in Aspect of the Mantis, but unfortunately the reset doesn't work, so it doesn't give you a free reset every 5 seconds to basically be able to double cast Maul. Unfortunately, that didn't work, so we built out of it. It should work. I assume it's a bug that it doesn't, but if it does work down the road, it would be a good way to update your DPS just a little bit more. For passives, again, these are probably not min-maxed to the fullest. We just have it set up with what was working right now. We'll dig into it more as we continue into the patch. But for now, we have 8 points in Natural Attunement, 1 point in Primal Strength, 5 points in Hunter's Restoration, 6 points in Survival of the Pack, 5 points in Berserker. This gives you that 100% more melee damage, and you take 25% less damage, which is really nice. This will be at all times due to the fact that we're low life. And 10 points in Ancestral Weaponry because we are wearing a two-handed axe. This gave us 40 flat melee physical damage, which was really nice because there's also a lot of melee physical damage on a two-handed axe, which allowed us to stack a lot of physical damage and Maul to hit really, really hard. We got 22 points in the Beastmaster with 8 points in Urinsane Strength for that 16% less damage taken. We got 5 points in Boarheart and 5 points in Porcine Constitution so that we get that 30% damage reduction with Aspect of the Vor. So you can see there's a lot of damage reduction going on. We got the 25%, we got that 16%, and then we got 30%. Really makes you feel really, really tanky even though you have a low amount of ward. 1 point in Primal Strength so that we can proc the Aspect of the Boar chance on our melee hits. It's only a 4% chance, but it's nice when you do proc it. 1 point in savagery, and 8 points in ambush, because we do only do an attack every 3 seconds with Maul. So every other one is going to be, more than 5 seconds apart, which gives us a 200% increase in damage with it, which is really, really nice. And then for the Druid, we have 36 points with 5 points in chitinous plating. Now, I know that the endurance is basically useless, but this does give us armor, and it does give the minions armor, which is pretty nice for the crow's survivability. Then we have 5 points in Thicket of Thorns. When we get hit, there's a chance to cast Thorn Shield. We also get more armor with this, and a little bit of damage reflect. 5 points in Druidic Prowess, 5 points in Focused Wraith, 1 point in Rancor, 5 points in Wind in the Leaves, and then 10 points in Force of Nature for that flat melee damage. And that's it for this tree. I know we didn't put too many points in here, but we really ran out of points with how many we were putting everywhere else. When we do switch to some one-handed weapons and using swipe, there'll probably be more in this tree, less in the base tree, and then a little bit more in the Beastmaster. But that is it for passives. Remember, it's not min-max. Feel free to switch some stuff around to really take advantage of anything you think I might have missed. And then for the inventory, so we have several things going on here. So first off, for low life, you want 𝐒𝐭𝐦𝐦𝐬 and you want Last Steps of the Living. Yes, we are wearing a legendary. We did this on stream yesterday. We got really, really lucky. We had a Last Steps of the Living fall with 1 legendary power, and we happened to get, luckily, the tier 6 movement speed off of a pair of boots. So we actually go really, really fast because we have extra speed, but even without the 24% increase movement speed, even with a basic Last Steps of the Living, you're going to be fine. It's going to work really well. You're still going to be very quick. The build still works. The one unique we have outside of those is the Boulder Fist. This is because you do not want to leech health. So we have this taken. Now, when we switch our passives around and we get out of the Aspect of the Shark and we get out of the basic passives for that two-handed axe 40 flat physical damage, we no longer have any leech sources, especially if we don't build into it and swipe. So we might be able to take these off once we take out of that. But right now we actually have quite a bit of leech coming in. 1 hit is going to refill of your life, so you have to wear something that does not do that, or else the low life doesn't really work. So we have the Boulder Fist for that. Then for our items for our weapon, we are using something that just had a ton of melee physical damage. So this one had tier 5 on it, along with the implicit of 130, and it makes us hit really, really hard, because between that and the 40 that you get in the passives, it's over 200 flat melee physical damage, which is huge. But later we will be switching to some one-handed weapons with faster attack speed and some higher crit chance, so that we can throw and swipe, and it'll do quite well for us in the downtime of Maul. For the helm, nothing special, just a lot of health. We're basically trying to stack as much health as possible. We gave our minions some health as well. None of this is min-max for critical strike avoidance. We got some on a ring and on our other ring, so that's covered on our rings. And then, for instance, the damage over time, you want to make sure that you're going with physical damage or strength. Any of those will work. For our belt, we have some minion health regen along with tier 1 hybrid health and flat health. Like, there's a lot of room to get a lot more health on this build, which will give you a lot more ward. And then for the relic, again, minion health regen is what we were going for here to keep the crows alive. The spell critical strike chance is useless. The cold and necrotic resist are pretty nice just because we don't have it, but we also went for as many hybrid health idols as we have, which I only have 2 on this character, but we had some elemental resist ones that were also pretty nice to cover. And then you can get a 1x3 that has the % elemental resistance while transformed. For Blessigns, we don't have anything super special on this. Things that you would probably want to go for, physical res shred on hit is nice. I believe we did not get that one on this one. But we have endurance, which doesn't really help you in a low life build. So definitely got a lot of room inside of Blessings to be able to find better things. We have quite a few resistances, so you can definitely build more into armor. You can definitely build into the critical strike avoidance in the Reign of Chaos. A lot of things you can do with Blessings to better outperform what I have here. There's nothing specific that you actually need for the build to work though, so get whatever Blessings you want. Alright, for the character sheet, you can see that we're level 87, we are a Druid, we've got about 30 points of attunement and intelligence, we got about 1900 health. You can definitely get much higher than that. We'll be building into more life later, trying to get to about 2500. And then for damage types, you can see our critical strike multiplier is at 233, which isn't crazy, but we have a lot of crit multi inside the trees that's not global. And then we've got about 330% melee damage and 100% physical damage. For defense, we are capped on the critical strike avoidance. We have our endurance up, but again, as a low life build, it doesn't really pertain to us very much. And then for our minions, they got about 300% life, and they've got about 100 minion health regen per second. They survive all right in level 100 content. If they sit in dots or any sort of boss attack, they usually die. But the nice thing is you can either leave the form to resummon them if they completely disappear, and you only have a 6-second cooldown now, so it doesn't feel as bad. And then for how to play the build, summon your crows. As you can see, the crows, they're giving me a ton of ward. Every time they heal me, see how it jumps up about 300 at a time there. So we set around 3,000 ward, which is really nice. And then we're going to be using Rampage and Maul. That's really all I'm using. You can swipe, but for me, the Maul and the Rampage, like look how fast we go here. That extra 24% move speed does help, but even without it, you're still quick. But you Rampage around, and then you just jump in and Maul. And as you can see there, we did 130,000 damage hit. But the Maul hits for about the same size as the circle around the training dummy. It's a very big AoE. You can leap in and just massive hits. Again, we haven't fully min-maxed this, but we're doing anywhere from 80 to 130,000 damage hits. Again, if you wait the 5 seconds in between each hit, you get that 200% increase, and that's what's giving us the bigger jump. Right now, the rage, obviously it does cost rage, and you can see my rage was falling quite quick. But again, every time you do that, you get 10 kills, you get like 100 rage back. You're getting 10 rage per kill or hit against rare or boss type enemy. So that's how you get the rage back. And again, it's only a 6-second cooldown. It's not as bad as it was before. And you can just maul in and just do massive damage, which is really nice. So again, just rampage around and then leap in and boom, rampage again. And that's all you do. And you go through maps really quick, as you can see in the gameplay. We've done dungeons with it already. We're in level 100 content. It's doing quite well. So, good way to build a werebear if you're struggling to make anything work. As for leveling this, I haven't leveled my own werebear yet in the new patch, but I recommend that you could probably go into this right away. Nothing stops you from being able to do great damage. You probably won't be able to go low life right away, but we were only level 84 with only 1,000 life when we first put on 𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐬𝐬 just to test out the low life, and we didn't even have the boots, and we were doing content quite well up to about level 90 at the time. Once we got the boots and we got the crows, level 100 content became easy. But if you're leveling it up and you have 𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐬𝐬, you can even do the low life level up. If you don't have 𝐭𝐚𝐽𝐬𝐬, you will do less damage, but you can definitely level up as a werebear and use Maul using that Fury Leap tree, and it's going to do quite well. That's going to be it for this leveling guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying the new transformations. We're going to be doing some of the other ones now, and we'll have a build guide out on those soon as we have a couple of the new builds working out for them. As always, stay safe and enjoy some gameplay.